My father told everyone, "My daughter is a failure." I stayed quiet. Then he applied for a job. I was the one interviewing. He didn't recognize me at first. I was sitting behind a glass desk in a corner office on the 12th floor, wearing a navy blazer and my hair down the way I never wore it at home. The nameplate said, Director of Talent Acquisition. He walked in with his resume in a folder, sat down across from me, and smiled the way he always smiled at strangers. Warm, charming. The smile he saved for people who weren't family. "Thank you for seeing me," he said. "I know the market is tough right now." I looked at him. Really looked. He was 58 now, grayer than I remembered, wearing a suit that didn't quite fit anymore. The confident man who'd told our entire family that his daughter would never amount to anything had shrunk somehow, had become ordinary. I let the silence sit for 3 full seconds. "Hello, Dad?" His smile froze, then crumbled. His eyes searched my face, finding his daughter behind the woman he'd come to beg for a job. "What are you... But this is..." I folded my hands on the desk. "I'm the one who decides whether you get hired here. Funny how things work out. Let me take you back, because this story isn't about an interview. It's about spending your whole life being told you're not enough by the person who was supposed to believe in you first. It's about what happens when the person who counted you out finally needs you to count them in. I was the only daughter. My father had wanted a son. He'd picked out the name before I was born. Michael, after his own father. When I came out, he barely looked at me for days. My mother told me this years later like it was just a funny family story. I didn't laugh. My brother came 3 years after me, Tyler. And suddenly I understood what my father's love looked like when he actually felt it. He was at every one of Tyler's Little League games, every soccer practice, every awards ceremony. He coached Tyler's teams, built him things in the garage, taught him to drive the moment he turned 15. I got my license at 18 because I had to schedule the test myself and take 2 buses to the DMV. When I was 10 and Tyler was 7, I won the school science fair. Built a working volcano that actually erupted with the chemical reaction timed perfectly. First place. Blue ribbon. My teacher said it was the best project she'd seen in 15 years. I ran home to tell my father. He was in the backyard teaching Tyler to catch. "That's nice, honey," he said without looking up. "Tyler, keep your eye on the ball." My mother put the ribbon on the fridge. My father never mentioned it again. When I was 12, I made the select choir. Only 30 kids out of 200 auditions. My mother came to the winter concert. My father had to take Tyler to batting practice. When I was 14, I got accepted into the honors program. Had to test in, write an essay, get teacher recommendations. My father said honors classes were just extra homework for the same diploma. When Tyler failed algebra that same year, my father hired him a private tutor. $60 an hour, 3 times a week. Growing up, nothing I did was ever enough. When I made honor roll, my father asked why I wasn't valedictorian. When I got into the state university, he said it wasn't a real school. When I graduated in 3 years instead of 4 to save money, he told his friends I'd probably just rush through it without learning anything. Meanwhile, Tyler was failing classes at community college and my father was calling it finding himself. The comparisons never stopped. Tyler got C's and got encouragement. I got A's and got skepticism. I got a job offer at a tech company making $38,000 a year and got told I should have gone into something practical. But the moment that changed everything happened at Thanksgiving dinner when I was 22. I'd just been promoted to recruiting coordinator, youngest in my department. I was proud, still stupidly hoping my father would finally see me if I just achieved enough. We were all at the table. My aunts, uncles, cousins, Grandparents, someone asked what everyone was thankful for. When it got to my father, he raised his glass. I'm thankful for my son Tyler, who's going to figure out his path and do great things. And I'm thankful that at least one of my kids has potential. He laughed. Everyone laughed. Like it was a joke. Like I wasn't sitting right there. My aunt looked uncomfortable. What about your daughter? Didn't she just get promoted? My father shrugged. She got some desk job, answering phones or something. Nothing special. He took a sip of wine. Honestly, between us, I think she peaked in high school. Some kids just don't have that extra gear. I sat there holding my fork while my father called me a failure to our entire family. I didn't cry, didn't confront him. I finished my food, said I had an early morning, and drove home. I realized I'd spent my entire life trying to earn approval from someone who'd decided I was worthless before I could walk. He'd wanted a son. Nothing I did would ever be enough because the bar wasn't about achievement. It was about being the wrong thing from the start. I stopped going home after that. My mother called asking what was wrong. I said I was busy with work. She accepted that. My father didn't notice for 2 months. When he finally did, he told my mother I was being dramatic. I heard about it secondhand. Everything with my father was secondhand. I threw myself into work like it was oxygen, not to prove anything to him anymore. That door was closed. I was proving something to myself. That I wasn't a failure. That the voice in my head that sounded like my father was lying. The tech industry moves fast if you're good and hungry. I was both. Within 8 months, I was senior recruiting coordinator. I learned everything I could. Stayed late. Came in early. Read books about talent acquisition. Attended conferences on my own dime. Built a network of contacts across the industry. Within a year, I was team lead. At 23, I was managing 4 people older than me, running hiring for an entire department. My boss pulled me aside one day. "You're the best natural talent I've seen in this field. I want you to know that." A stranger believed in me more than my own father ever had. I remember the exact moment I stopped hoping he'd change. It was Christmas, a year after the Thanksgiving incident. I'd been promoted twice. I texted my mother a photo of my new business cards. Team lead. She showed my father. His response, relayed through her. "Anyone can get business cards printed." I deleted the text thread. Blocked his number. Let go of the last thread of hope I'd been holding. The company was growing fast. Series B funding, expanding to new cities, hiring like crazy. They needed someone to build out recruiting for the new Austin office. Full ownership. My own team. They'd promote me to manager. I was 24 years old. The VP of People called me into her office. "We think you're ready. More than ready. We want you to build something from scratch." I said yes before she finished the sentence. I didn't tell my family I was moving to Texas. My mother found out through Facebook. My father sent a text through her phone. "Austin? That's far. Hope it works out for you." Not, "I'm proud of you." Not, "That's amazing." Just hope it works out. Like he was expecting me to fail. Like he was waiting for me to come crawling back. Austin changed everything. Nobody there had preconceptions about me. Nobody compared me to Tyler. Nobody sighed when I walked into a room. I was just the new recruiting manager, and I was damn good at my job. I built a team from nothing, hired 20 people in 6 months, hit targets everyone said were impossible, created processes that became company standard. Other offices started calling me for advice. The CEO mentioned my name in an all-hands meeting. "The Austin office is setting the standard for how we should scale. That's the leadership we need." I got promoted again at 25. Director of Talent Acquisition. 6 figures. Equity. A seat at leadership meetings where decisions got made. I was the youngest director in the company by 4 years. My team threw me a small party when the promotion was announced. Cake, champagne, a card signed by everyone I'd hired. I looked around at these people who respected me, who I'd built something with. And I felt something I'd never felt at home. Seen, valued, real. I bought a condo at 26, nothing fancy but mine. Paid for with money I'd earned, in a city I'd chosen, in a life I'd built from nothing. I drove a car I'd paid for myself, had savings, investments, a 401k that would let me retire at 50 if I kept at it. Built a life that was entirely mine. I dated when I felt like it, traveled when I wanted, answered to nobody. The failure my father predicted had become someone he wouldn't recognize. I didn't go home for holidays, sent my mother gifts, and called on birthdays. She'd update me on Tyler. He'd started a business that failed, got a job at a dealership, lost it after 6 months, was 25 and still figuring things out, which meant playing video games in the basement and borrowing money from our parents. My father still defended him, still told people Tyler had potential, just needed the right opportunity. Still told people I'd run off to Texas and lost touch, like I was the problem. Then my mother called with news. Her voice sounded tired in a way I hadn't heard before. Your father lost his job. The distribution center closed. They gave everyone 2 weeks' notice. He's been looking for 3 months, but nobody's hiring supervisors his age. We're okay for now with savings, but he's struggling. I've never seen him like this. I felt something complicated. What do you want me to do about it? He's applied everywhere. Nothing. He saw online that your company is hiring for some warehouse coordinator position in the Austin facility. He wants to apply. Thought maybe you could help. I almost laughed. He wants me to help him get a job. The man who told everyone I was a failure. Silence. Then, I'm not asking you to forgive him. Just consider it. Please. I said I'd think about it. And I did. For weeks. The irony was almost too perfect. The man who told our entire family that his daughter would never amount to anything was now hoping that same daughter would rescue him. He didn't know I was director of talent. Didn't know I oversaw all hiring. Didn't know his application would land on my desk because I personally reviewed every candidate for leadership positions. He'd applied for a supervisor role, not entry level. That required my approval. He never made the connection. He walked into my office on a Tuesday at 10. I'd rehearsed nothing. Just wanted to see his face when he realized who I was. And it was everything I'd imagined and nothing like it. Because when his smile crumbled and he said my name like a question, I didn't feel triumph. I felt sad. Sad that this was who my father had always been. Someone who only saw my value when he needed something. I don't understand, he said. You work here? I run recruiting here. Director. Have been for a year. I decide who gets hired and who doesn't. Including you. He was processing. I could see it. The calculations, the realization that his failure of a daughter controlled his professional fate. Why didn't you tell us? Tell you what? That I was successful? Would you have believed it? Would you have cared? Of course I would have cared. You're my daughter. I pulled his resume from the folder. 18 years at Morrison Distribution. Operations supervisor. Solid trajectory. I looked up. Why did you leave? The facility closed. You know this. I'm asking as your interviewer, not as your daughter. He shifted, not used to me having any power. It closed due to restructuring, wasn't performance related. How long have you been looking? 3 months, almost 4 now. Any offers? No. He said it quietly. The admission cost him something. Nobody wants to hire someone my age for management. They want younger people they can mold, or pay less. Probably both. So you're applying here. Entry-level supervisor, significant pay cut from what you were making. A job is a job. I need to work. I'm not too proud to start over if I have to. I almost laughed at that. Not too proud. This from the man who'd spent my entire childhood making me feel small. I set his resume down. Do you remember Thanksgiving? 4 years ago? Something flickered across his face. That was years ago. Do you remember what you said when Aunt Carol asked about me? You said I had some desk job answering phones. Said I peaked in high school. Said Tyler was the one with potential. I kept my voice level. No anger. Just facts. I was sitting right there. I heard every word. The whole family heard you say your daughter was basically nothing. He opened his mouth. Closed it. You didn't mean for me to hear it. That's different from not meaning it. I leaned forward slightly. You spent my entire life telling me I wasn't enough, comparing me to Tyler. I won the science fair and you didn't look up from playing catch. I made honors and you said it was just extra homework. I graduated early with a degree and you asked what I was going to do with it. I got promoted and you called it nothing special. I moved across the country to build a career and you said you hoped it would work out. Hoped. Like you were waiting for me to fail so you could say you told me so. I was trying to prepare you for the real world. You were the thing I needed protection from. You just never realized it. He flinched. I built this, I said, gesturing to the office, the view, everything I'd earned. Without your help, without your support, without a single word of encouragement. I'm 27 years old and I'm a director at a company worth $2 billion. I am the opposite of a failure, and the only reason you're in this office is because you failed and need me to save you. I'm not asking for a handout, just a fair chance. A chance you never gave me. You decided I was worthless before I could walk. Every achievement was dismissed. Every success was minimized. You never once said you were proud of me. Not once. But you were at every single one of Tyler's games, coached his teams, told every— I'm not— The easy answer was no. The satisfying answer was no. But I'd stopped needing anything from him a long time ago. I'm going to give you a real interview, I said. Not a favor. If you're qualified, you move forward. If you're not, you don't. Your relationship to me doesn't factor in. He stared. You're serious? Completely. I spent 45 minutes asking standard questions about his experience, his management style, his approach to problems. He answered well enough. He was qualified for the role. Overqualified, actually. At the end, I closed my folder. I'll send your file to the hiring manager with my notes. They'll make the final decision. Before I go, he said, I want you to know, I didn't realize how much I hurt you. I thought you didn't care. I cared so much I had to stop caring. There's a difference. I protected myself because you wouldn't. I don't know how to fix it. I'm not asking you to fix it. For the first time in my life, you need something from me. And I'm handling it fairly. Without letting our history affect your candidacy. That's more than you ever did for me. He stood up, looked around my office, at the awards on my shelf, the view of downtown. Your mother said you were doing well. I didn't believe her. I know. I should have. Yes. You should have. He left. I sat in my office looking at the skyline. I didn't feel victorious. Felt something quieter, like closing a chapter I'd been dragging around too long. He got the job. Not because I pushed for him, because the hiring manager thought his experience was valuable. He started 3 weeks later. We worked in the same building, different floors. Saw each other in the elevator sometimes. Nodded. Didn't pretend to be something we weren't. 2 months later, he sent me an email. Can I take you to lunch? Not as an employee. As your father. There are things I need to say. I thought about ignoring it. Thought about a polite decline. But I'd spent years being the bigger person. What was one more lunch? We went to a place near the office. Quiet booth in the back. He ordered coffee. I got an iced tea. Small talk first. The weather in Austin. How Mom was doing. The adjustment to a new job at his age. Then he put down his cup. I've been watching you, he said. The way people here talk about you. The way they respect you. Your team would do anything for you. I've been in management for 20 years and I've never seen loyalty like that. I just treat people like they matter. It's not complicated. It is complicated. I treated people like that and never got that kind of response. He looked at his hands, wrapped around the coffee cup. I realized something these past 2 months. Working here, seeing what you built. He paused. Swallowed. You're not a failure. I was. I failed at being your father. Failed at seeing what was right in front of me for 27 years. I waited. Let him find his own words. Didn't help him. I was angry when you were born, he said. Wanted a boy so bad I couldn't see what was in front of me. You were perfect. You were mine. And I was too disappointed about what you weren't to see what you were. I took it out on you your whole life. Every time I praised Tyler, I was punishing you. I didn't even realize it until I walked into your office and saw what you'd become without me. Because of me leaving you alone. No, it wasn't. I don't expect forgiveness. Don't even know if I deserve it. But I wanted you to know I see it now. What you built. Who you are. You're remarkable. You always were. I was just too blind and too proud and too stupid to say it. I felt tears threatening. Pushed them back. I'd cried enough over this man. I needed to hear that. Not for validation anymore. I stopped needing that years ago. But for closure. To know you finally see it. Does this mean we can try? To have something? I know I can't get back 27 years of being a terrible father. But I've got whatever time is left. If you want any of it. I thought about it. Really thought. I don't know what we can have. Too much happened for us to be normal. But maybe something smaller. Something we build from here. He nodded. Eyes wet. I'd like that. We finished lunch. I paid. He tried to argue. I told him I could expense it. He laughed. First time I'd ever made my father laugh. That was smartest person in our family. I heard him say that at a work event last month. I pretended not to hear. But I heard. I spent my whole life trying to prove I wasn't a failure to a man who decided I was one before I was born. Then I stopped trying and built a life that proved it anyway. And then he walked into my office needing something from me, and I got to decide what happened next. I could have destroyed him, could have rejected his application and watched him struggle. But that would have made me like him, small and petty. I'm not him. I never was. He called me a failure. I stayed quiet and let my success speak. Then I gave him a fair interview when I had every reason not to, and somehow that's what broke through. Not revenge, just excellence. The proof that I was everything he said I wasn't. If you've ever been called a failure by someone who never helped you succeed, this story is for you. If you've ever built something extraordinary while the people who should have believed in you looked away, this is for you. If you've ever had the chance for revenge and chosen fairness instead, this is for you. Tell me in the comments, has someone who doubted you ever needed your help? What did you do? I read every story. And if you want more stories about people who became extraordinary while being called ordinary, subscribe. Sometimes the best revenge isn't anger. It's a nameplate on a door that says everything they said you'd never be.